It's Monday in the wood shop. Finally got all of the covers and all of the pallets palletized, oddly enough, and wrapped in shrink wrap and set aside out of the way. So I have a little more space in the shop. Now it's frame building time. It'll be frame building time for the rest of this week. I wanted to start by showing you a really nifty little easy to build thing that I made. I call it my frame caddy. Used to have, this is how my frames come in packs of 100. So I'll get 100 top bars, 100 bottom bars, and then 100 end bars, which you can see in there. What I used to do was try and keep them strapped and sort of pull out of the center. So you kind of pull them out of the center as long as I could to keep them from just being a mess everywhere. It takes a lot of space if things start to stretch out a lot. Then I bothered to actually go and build a little caddy to hold everything. Well, let me kind of show you how I use it. I can put a whole pack of top bars in here, and then I can take the bottom bars in here, and then my end bars are in here. A bit of a lift helps it to come out. And this one. So we're ready to roll for 100 frames. So because the bottom or the end bars here are much smaller, that section holds 200. I don't often touch this set. I'll just add another 100 here when these are gone. But today I'll likely get into it because I'll probably build more frames than just this, but I haven't brought any from my other building. So I've got my handy dandy jig here. My first jig I built was much taller than this, and I found that when I was building medium frames it was too tall and I couldn't really get the top bars on properly because the top bars stick out. I've got two staple guns here. I have my smaller one, a narrow crown staple. That's an 1.25" narrow crown staple in here. Oddly enough, the stated maximum on that gun is 1 inch, but it fires 1.25" just fine. Then I've got my big staple gun here with an 1.5" medium crown staple. These go in the top bar, the smaller ones go in the bottom bar and under the top bar ear. First things first, right? I like this thermos my wife got me for Christmas. It has this pour lid. Just undo it a little bit and pour. I often take coffee when I'm driving in the truck. It's pretty easy to pour that in the truck without spilling. I'm using this glue today. It's actually made by the same company as Titebond. Franklin International is the company. I don't think it's a waterproof glue. Right now I'm building frames for somebody else, and this is the glue they want used. And they gave me the glue, so who am I to use my expensive Titebond 3? Remember I said how the Titebond 3 just kind of flakes off of that Ziploc container? Hey, look at that. Comes right out. But that's kind of neat. Clean as can be. Kind of change what I'm doing as things are a little different. These parts are fitting very tightly together, so I find that tapping them together with that little hammer and give that staple right away to hold it tight is what I choose to do. Maybe a little slower, I don't know. Just have to pick up that stapler 5 times is all. Got these actually suspended above my workbench, and I don't know if you can see, but this stapler is suspended so that it's almost sits vertical, and it's really easy to pick up. The big one does too. And that's also important because building thousands of staples, to just have a few ounces of weight taken off the stapler by that coil hose really makes a difference at the end of the day. I find I get a lot of kind of muscle tension and muscle pain at the end of the day in certain areas after a lot of repetitive movement, which is the case no matter what you're doing, right? I was in IT for 20 years, and the kind of pain that I got in my arms, my hands, my neck, sitting at a desk was remarkable. Remarkable how that kind of a job could take a toll on the human body. Last time I cleaned this bench, I sprayed it with some lacquer. It doesn't absorb water very much anymore in this area, so I can clean that glue. So tap these in. Tap a couple together. These are good. ear protection. Blew out the top here. You get one or two. There's another one over there. What happens, I think most of the time, causes this. When I drive that staple in the end, it hits that staple and then sends the leg of the staple awry. Rinse and repeat. Oddly enough, if someone asked me if I hate building frames, I'd say no. I don't hate building frames, but it is very boring. Normally I have tunes going on in here, but when I'm making video, that's not really practical. If you don't wipe those, then that glue gets on that jig and you turn it over. Your jig gets smaller and smaller as you work. I just had to struggle and get the batteries out of my truck. They're huffing and puffing. It's a tough lift. Hard to get my hands in there, and they're heavy. 2 of them. My shocks are all wore out, so I have a piece of wood, a stick holding my hood up. They'll work in the summer, but there's a little bit of snow on the hood, so it's too heavy. So anyway, they're out, and we'll get new batteries tomorrow. Well, there are the batteries I just took out of the truck. This one looks like it's frozen. This one not as much, I guess, but I think they're both dead. I'll try and charge them. I have a load tester. They're not a particularly heavy duty battery. I mean, they're heavy duty, but they're 750 amps cold. I guess they're okay, but they were kind of old when I got them. A bit of a story. I had a couple of big Interstate batteries in there for a couple of years. I don't know, maybe more than a couple, and they let me down. And Interstate always sells their warranty really heavy when you pay twice as much for batteries as you need to. And so I fell for that, paid them over $200 for a battery, so we're looking at nearly $500 for the pair. And when it came warranty time, when they were no good, they just said, meh, we're not interested in talking to you about that. So at that time, my brother had these used batteries. I tested them. They tested okay. They were okay for summer. Not great for summer, but they were okay. I have to use my truck here in the winter, and they're not any good at all. I charged them for a couple of weeks, and my truck would hardly turn over. So tomorrow we get 2 brand new batteries. We're going eco route this time. We'll get batteries for less than $100 probably a piece. And they're going to be 1,000 amp batteries, so it's not that they're going to be small. So I'm pretty sure we'll be just fine here, and we'll see how long the cheaper batteries last. The Interstate certainly didn't last very long for what you pay. So anyway, that's my battery adventure for today. It's minus 17 out there. Just a little breeze, not real windy, very, very sunny. Still very cold on the hands doing this kind of thing. So we'll be back to frames now. I think I've got 200 frames there. Boy, that's not very many for nearly 2 days work. I don't know what to say. I have no excuse. It just seems that doing 100 frames in a day seems to be the speed right now. Get up earlier and work later, I suppose. I had brought 400 in here today. I'm going to palletize these. I'll palletize them about, I don't know, maybe that many on a pallet. My little tractor can't lift that many. And if I want to put them in my truck, they can't be too tall. So anyway, I'm giving up for today. We'll see you another day. Have fun.